ascending the stairs. The madness, sadness, kiss of dawn. Cover your ass as you stay on the run. It's bonus time. It's time to delay. The Joker is wild, and he's stacking the deck. Below down the floor, around the showdown in hell. Stay on the move, or you won't live to tell.
Hello everyone, we're going to go for a short little introductory flight today. We'll be taking off from our airfield at home. It's a grass strip, it's a little bit over 1,000 feet. So we need to take off with 1 notch of flaps. This particular plane has 3 notches of flaps, so we set the flap to 1. That's the takeoff configuration for this plane. And basically put it at maximum throttle. And then watch your airspeed indicator. Once we get up to about 60 miles an hour, just pull back on the stick there. The stick's in the middle. And then the plane will lift off. So you want to make sure when you're taking off that you don't pull the stick back too far. Because if you do that, then you're going to bleed off your airspeed. And if you fly less than the stall speed, then the airplane will actually quit flying and it'll come crashing back to the ground. So that is kind of a common error that that new pilots make. Sometimes they'll stall an aircraft. You can stall an aircraft at any engine setting. So if when you're taking off, you pull back too hard on that stick after you become airborne, you will stall the aircraft and it'll come crashing down pretty hard on you. So you got to keep an eye on your stall speed at all times. You can't always count on the stall speed warning to activate. It can happen pretty quick. So once you get up flying in this plane here, you have to make sure that you don't go too fast and exceed your flap speed. The flap speed's about 70 miles an hour on this plane, so when you get up to around 70 or something, you want to make sure you retract your flaps, and away you go. So this aircraft has a maximum speed of about 140 miles an hour. So we usually don't fly at more than about 120 miles an hour. So that's called VNE, which is never exceeds speed. So as we're flying around Grand Forks here, we're just kind of keeping an eye out for traffic. We're on inside in a mandatory frequency here because we're close to the airport. So we'd monitor the frequency of 123.2, which is the frequency for Grand Forks. So the zone from Grand Forks would extend 5 nautical miles from the center of the airport. So all traffic within that zone would be monitoring 123.2. So the call I'd be making now as I land, because I'm on final, would be Grand Forks traffic. This is India Hotel, Juliet Echo. I'm landing 07 for a touch and go. And that's what I'm doing here. So we'll slow down a bit. We're going to probably land around 70 miles an hour, be about our touchdown speed. And then as soon as it kind of get a little bit stable, we just pour the coals to her and slowly pull up again. So let's just call it touch and go. The flaps in this aircraft are controlled by a knob on the firewall there. It's electrically controlled flaps. You might have noticed I didn't use any flaps, but I didn't really need to. It's a 4,000-foot runway, and it's just as easy to land clean. That's what they call it if you have no flaps. And then if you're doing a touch and go, you take off right away. You have to be a little bit careful if you're taking off with flaps doing a touch and go, because there's a maximum speed that you can fly with flaps, and the flaps are down. It's 70 miles an hour. So if you fly any faster than that, you risk doing some damage to the aircraft. So you have to be careful that you don't fly too fast with your flaps extended. So in this case, I didn't extend the flaps, so I can land and take off, and I don't have to worry about that. Okay, in this last sequence here, I'm going to show you what happens when you don't do a very good job landing there. If your speed's just a little bit too much and your angle of attack is too high, you end up hitting the ground too hard, and you have to abort the landing. So here we are. We're coming down. We've got 2 sets of flaps set up there, and we've got to come just over this fence. We're landing in the field here. We've only got about 1,000 feet to set her down and stop the plane. So here we are. We're just coming a little too fast and just a bit too aggressive on the angle there. And we come down a notch, it bounces, eh? And there it goes, bounces, and then you try to correct again, it bounces again. And what you got to do is get on there, just pull it, just give her a, just come back up, put the power to it. If you let it bounce a couple more times, it just gets worse and worse. It's called a porpoise, and you do some major damage to the plane. There's videos on YouTube. So here we go. We'll show you how it's done properly here. I only did that once in that field, but I have to catch it on video, so I thought I'd show it to you. So this is the way it's supposed to be done. Yeah, you just come over that fence there, get your speed down around 55 miles an hour or so, pull her back, and just land with the nose up just a little bit, and cut your power. And what I usually do is there we go. Here she comes. Yep, there we go. Not much of a bounce. And then I just cut the power in the plane and let her coast the rest of the way, because we don't need the prop after that. So, well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Just kind of a quick little intro on the Allegro here, and a couple things there, how she flies and stuff. And hopefully we will catch you next time on the next one.